What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Off the Schneid. Couldn't be more excited for today's show. The day has finally come for me to release my mock draft 1.0. I do one mock draft a year. I suss out all the information I can find, try to figure out who's going to take who, and I put it all together and I make one single mock draft, and that's it. So here we go. Without further ado, let's jump right into pick number 1 with the first overall selection in the 2020 NFL Draft. The Cincinnati Bengals select quarterback Joe Burrow. So with the drafting of Joe Burrow, it remains to be seen what happens with Andy Dalton. Personally, I would love to see him get traded on draft day for maybe a 3rd or 4th round pick, something like that, and go to a team like the Patriots or the Chargers or even the Jags, somewhere that he can go and have a chance to compete to be the starter. But I think every team in the NFL knows that the Bengals can cut him for zero dead cap money, and that's, in all honesty, the likely scenario. So why would you make a trade for a guy who's likely going to be cut and you can just sign as a free agent? So we'll see what happens, but I really don't see Andy Dalton on the Bengals in 2020. Another pick that's not really a surprise to anyone is going to be Chase Young at number 2. It's not really a pick of need, but you just can't pass up the chance to draft a guy like this. He's a local kid as well. You just can't pass up the chance to draft a generational talent like this. So what I do if I'm the Redskins is build on that defensive line that is one of the best in the NFL. So you build off that defensive line, you hope that Dwayne Haskins is your quarterback, and you kind of build from there. But realistically, they just cannot pass up on the chance to draft a guy like Chase Young. With the Detroit Lions trading Darius Slay in the offseason, it's created a massive hole at corner for them. So if you look at past Patriots teams, they've always had that shutdown corner, whether it was Revis or Gilmore. It's kind of the Patriot way. So with Matt Patricia investing in that defense in the offseason, just like the Chase Young pick, you can't pass up the opportunity to grab a plug-and-play starter on that defense for the next 8 years or so. So with the drafting of Jeff Okudah, we got back-to-back Ohio State Buckeyes. So we got new head coach Joe Judge and new offensive coordinator Jason Garrett. In this year's draft, more than any other, I feel like, because what's going on with the world, you're going to have to trust those voices that you know. There's connections between Nick Saban and Joe Judge and Nick Saban and Jason Garrett. So Jedrick Wills is a guy that you plug on your offensive line. You start him on the right side because he played right tackle in college. You got Nate Solder on the left side still. If in a couple years you want to flop him over to the left side, go ahead. But he's a plug and play starter somewhere on your line. So set it and forget it. Jedrick Wills, New York Giants, move on. So the Miami Dolphins made some offseason pickups in free agency that I really like, but there's still quite a few holes on that team. If I'm the Dolphins, I don't use my draft capital to move up in the draft to pick one of these quarterbacks. If another team wants to trade away some picks to get ahead of them and pick Tua or Herbert, then so be it. I think they just stand pat and pick where they are and plug those holes. You can get a quarterback next offseason, make a trade next draft, whatever it is. But I think they get Tua here. I don't think they need to move up. So they pick Tua. They don't need him to start right away. They got Ryan Fitzpatrick for the first, say, 4 games at least. You make sure Tua's healthy, you get him up to speed with the offense, and then you can start him after that and see what you really have with them. But I think that they can just stand pat and get Tua here, and then hopefully he's their quarterback of the future. For a lot of the same reasons I have the Dolphins picking Tua, I've got the Chargers taking Justin Herbert here. Supposedly they like Tyrod Taylor, but they got to know that he's not going to be their quarterback long term. So you grab a guy that could be the quarterback of the future. You can start on the bench. If Aaron Rodgers can sit for 3 seasons, then Justin Herbert can sit for 1. You can bring him in mid-season, whatever you need to do, have a competition in camp, all these kinds of things that are going to help make the Chargers a better team. So you go ahead, you pick Justin Herbert, number 6 to the LA Chargers. So we've had quite a few chalky picks so far, and to be honest, I could see a lot of mock drafts, including this one, being blown up by now. So we'll see what happens, but from this pick on, you're going to see a lot of mocks go a lot of different ways. So we got the Carolina Panthers at 7. I don't think that they can pass up on Isaiah Simmons. He's a local guy. He might be one of the best players in this draft. I really, really like everything that he can do, and that defense has a ton of holes. So with the retirement of Luke Kuechly, I think you just grab Isaiah Simmons to have a leader on your defense for the next 10 years. With the first trade of my mock, I've got the Las Vegas Raiders moving up to 8th overall, trading with the Cards to grab wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. It's no surprise Mike Mayock's probably going to make some moves. He's got some capital, he can do that, and he picks guys that he likes where he can get them. He doesn't make any excuses. He believes in what he's doing. He believes in his scouting ability, and he goes up, gets his wide receiver of the future. So whether that's for Derek Carr or Mariota or potentially another quarterback, he's gonna do what he's got to do to get the player that he wants. And I just think that they like CeeDee Lamb more than the other receivers. They want to get ahead of the Browns, the Jets, the Jags, potentially the Broncos moving up, all these other teams that are in talks for a wide receiver as well. They go up, get their guy, wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. I see a lot more talent in Jacksonville than a lot of people do. I think they're going to surprise some teams. They got a lot of draft capital, but I see them staying pat and drafting a guy that they're going to have on the defensive line for the foreseeable future, plug and play guy. They traded away Calais Campbell, so they're going to need to fill that hole. Derek Brown is a great pick. He could go higher than this. We'll see what happens, but I have the Jags picking Derek Brown 9th overall from Auburn. So the Cleveland Browns literally don't have a left tackle right now. They picked up Jack Conklin in free agency, who played on the right side in Tennessee, but the only reason he was on the right side was because they already have Taylor Lewan. He played left tackle in college, so I see the Browns moving Jack Conklin over to the left side, drafting who might be the number one tackle in this draft, Tristan Wirfs. You start him on the right side, it completes that line, and again, they're getting probably, in my opinion, the number one tackle in this year's draft. A lot of people have the Jets going offensive line here, which I could potentially see, but they did address it quite a bit in free agency. So I see them going to offense, adding a weapon for Sam Darnold. They lost Robbie Anderson. They got Jamison Crowder in the slot. So with the 11th overall pick, the Jets select Jerry Jeudy. With the trade for Nuke Hopkins, I don't see the Cardinals being in the mix for a wide receiver, at least not early in the NFL draft. So I see them taking advantage of the depth at tackle, trading back, grabbing Mekhi Becton from Louisville to play on the right side of their line. They got DJ Humphries on the left side. So it's a pretty good opportunity for them to slide back and grab their tackle. It's no secret the Niners are going to need another weapon for Jimmy Garoppolo in that offense. A lot of people have the Niners grabbing Henry Ruggs here. He is available. It would be great, and it'd be cool to see that speedster in Shanahan's offense. But I think with the production Justin Jefferson had at LSU and his measurables at the combine, he ran a 4.43, which is pretty good. I just don't think they can pass up on what I see as being a more sure thing. The Buccaneers' number one priority should be protecting Tom Brady. He's their $25 million man. They brought him in to win a championship. So first things first, you got to make sure you can protect him. A lot of people have Andrew Thomas as their number one tackle. I think he's very good. This is a good spot for him to go. The 14th overall pick, Andrew Thomas from Georgia. The Denver Broncos are going to need another weapon for Drew Lock in his second season. Cortland Sutton's there. He's a very good receiver, and adding a burner like Ruggs on the outside would really help that offense. I think they're ecstatic that he drops here. They're happy the Niners took Jefferson, so they go ahead, they grab Henry Ruggs from Alabama. With the departure of Desmond Trufant, there's a glaring hole at corner for the Atlanta Falcons. I think having CJ Henderson here is a no-brainer pick. They sprint to the podium. They pick CJ Henderson. He's kind of a local guy. He's a plug-and-play corner that's going to start right away and be a big part of that defense in 2020. I'll probably catch a lot of heat for this pick, and most people don't see linebacker as a need for the Dallas Cowboys. But with the uncertainty health-wise for Leighton Vander Esch, Sean Lee, and even Jalen Smith, as well as the connections between Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma and the Dallas Cowboys, some people have said that Kenneth Murray is one of the most safest picks in this draft. You know exactly what you're getting. He's a plug-and-play starter, and Sean Lee is not a starter at linebacker anymore anyways, so you grab the sure thing, a starter for years, Kenneth Murray to the Dallas Cowboys. There's been a lot of talk about Xavier McKinney going to the Cowboys with the prior pick, but so far the Miami Dolphins have chosen not to bring back Rashad Jones. There's a serious need at safety here, and if Xavier McKinney's still on the board, I see the Dolphins standing pat once again and grabbing the number one safety in the draft. I chose to go outside the box on this one here. The Raiders traded up and got rid of some assets to grab CeeDee Lamb. This time they trade back and they grab a couple second round picks. The Colts, who I know really like Jordan Love, they move up. They get their quarterback of the future. He doesn't have to start year one. Phillip Rivers goes in there on a one-year deal. Jordan Love's the quarterback of the future. Number 19, Jordan Love, Utah State. At number 20, the Jacksonville Jaguars stand pat again. They fill another need after having AJ Bouye and Jalen Ramsey. Neither of them are on the team currently. They go out and grab another corner who can start right away. AJ Terrell, number 20, Jacksonville Jaguars. In what might be a surprise move, the Baltimore Ravens move up to 21. They draft a linebacker to fill up their roster, a plug-and-play guy. K'Lavon Chaisson fits that defense perfectly. He comes in, starts right away for a Super Bowl caliber team. The Minnesota Vikings have a ton of draft capital, and I could certainly see them trading up. I couldn't find a trade partner for them, so I had them standing pat. And then Javon Kinlaw falls far enough. He's the number one player on the board. They just can't resist. There's tons of holes on that team, especially on defense. They go out and grab South Carolina defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw at 22. The Patriots are the biggest wild card in this entire draft for me. They could do a ton of different things and go a ton of different ways. They're going to have a new quarterback this year, that's for sure, and I see them shoring up the offensive line, going with Joshua Jones from Houston. There's hardly any holes on that New Orleans Saints roster. The biggest need, in my opinion, is coming at linebacker. With Zach Bond and Patrick Queen still here, it could go either way. I originally had Bond going to the Patriots a pick earlier, which could also happen. But in this mock, I've got the Saints picking the Wisconsin linebacker, Zach Bond. The Vikings, again, are a candidate to move up. I don't have them moving, so I have them picking at 25. They need a corner after losing their entire roster in the offseason. I don't see them grabbing Stephon Diggs' little brother. They have their top guy on their board, Jalen Johnson. They go ahead and grab him from Utah. In 2019, the Raiders kept all three of their first-round picks, and I see the Miami Dolphins doing the same thing. And what a lot of people consider a surprise, they go with J.K. Dobbins, running back from Ohio State. I know there's been a lot of talk between the coaching staff and Dobbins. They pass up on DeAndre Swift, and they go with their guy, J.K. Dobbins. It doesn't look like the Seahawks are going to bring back Jadeveon Clowney, and I don't think LJ Collier is the guy to replace him. So I see the Seahawks helping out their defense and grabbing Yetur Gross-Matos from Penn State. After missing out on the big four at wide receiver, I see the Philadelphia Eagles trading back, grabbing a huge need, a wide receiver they like, in Denzel Mims from Baylor. In what many will see as a surprise pick, I see the Tennessee Titans going out, filling a huge need, grabbing a big body for the defensive line. They go out and grab Justin Madubuike from Texas A&M. This is way too late for this guy to go, and the Packers will think they're dreaming when they see Patrick Queen's name still on the board. With Blake Martinez gone in free agency, they grab a plug-and-play linebacker who will start from day one on a Super Bowl caliber team. In a move that'll surprise no one, the 49ers trade their second first-round pick for a couple of assets to the Broncos. Denver moves back into the first round and grabs a corner to pair with AJ Bouye and LSU's Christian Fulton. With the final pick of the first round, the Kansas City Chiefs select Trevon Diggs from Alabama. This is a dream landing spot for Diggs and a big need for the Chiefs after losing Kendall Fuller in the offseason. In what's a super deep draft, there's going to be tons of talent in the second and third rounds. In a surprise pick, I've got the Las Vegas Raiders selecting Jalen Hurts with one of the picks they picked up from the Colts. It's going to be a shocker, but I think Mayock and Gruden want a quarterback that they can groom. I think they really like him. People underestimating that the rosters are going up next season and the possibility that teams can carry 3 quarterbacks. I could see that with the Colts, and I could see that with the Raiders. We'll see what happens, but it should be a super interesting draft. I'm extremely excited, and we'll see you guys on Thursday. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. And if you like what you saw, do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment, share, anything to get this channel out there. I really appreciate it. Look forward to some more content coming at you shortly.